So Usyk's exit plan has caught my curiosity, and I saw an interview which had some interesting observations. So here is my perspective. We will discuss 7 ideas. So the first idea is the confession that's hiding in plain sight. One more fight than Usyk walks. The question, or one of the biggest questions, is who will this fight be against? And is it about the challenge or is it the comfortable exit? Now, John Jones, one of the greatest UFC fighters that ever lived, has ruled himself out. And the Rico rematch talks, apparently that has stopped. I haven't seen anything in the media recently. Deontay Wilder has been seen as a potential candidate. But again, what is the main premise here? Is it about the challenge or is it about the comfortable exit? And once you make that decision, that should tell us what type of fight we're going to have. And then the second idea is the undisputed trap. Usyk has nothing left to conquer. The hunger engine that built him, that has now left. Is that premise true? Maybe only he knows the answer to that, or maybe his team know the answer to that. Now, from my perspective, from an outsider looking in, the best time to have walked away would have been in the Dubois rematch, because that was such a massive fight, such a huge atmosphere at Wembley. A massive crowd, massive expectation, massive exposure. That would have been a beautiful time to exit. So for me, the best time to have left would have been in the Dubois rematch. And now the next best time to leave would be now. I guess the motivation may not be gone for Usyk, but now the motivation is probably different. And then the third idea is that the Zuffa Payday as the perfect exit. And signing with Zuffa, if that happens, why would he sign with Zuffa? Is it about the money, or is it about the control? Because when you have lots of money, then money isn't the only thing on the table. For example, for some people, yes, it's about the money, but it's also about the cultural impact. So I don't think money is the only driving force behind this. Now, Zuffa is supposed to represent a meritocracy and it's supposed to represent excitement. But Usyk is the credentials of boxing. Usyk has massive credentials. And Zuffa would look to leverage those credentials and look to use that event to market not only Usyk's retirement, but also Zuffa's platform. So this would be a collaboration. But I don't think it would only be about money. It would probably be about control and options. And then the fourth idea is the Wilder question. Chosen for a reason. It's seen as a low risk, high spectacle, a name that sells without threatening the legacy. But is that premise true? Wilder is a power puncher. Therefore, he offers a power risk. He is, according to some, one of the biggest punchers of all time. Wilder, of course, is a marketable name. He brings attention, he brings virality. Knockout artists often do. But this whole thing about Wilder being a marketable name and being an extremely low risk, I'm not sure if that premise is completely true. First of all, Usyk has a lot to lose in this equation, because if Usyk wins, that's expected. But if Wilder wins, that changes boxing history. And that alters the way that he's perceived in boxing history. So he will have a huge motivational factor. And like I said, Wilder could be losing every minute of every round and just land that knockout punch. So I think the Wilder fight, of course, you would have to make Usyk the favorite. But if it materializes, Wilder does bring an element of risk, and that element of risk is very real. And then the fifth idea is the age and body clock nobody discusses. The decline in elite boxing is a cliff, not a slope. Usyk, in my opinion, needs to exit sooner rather than later. Here's a question. Is one fight too much? Father time. Father time has no conditions. You can't rewind boxing mortality. When it comes, it comes. But the Father Time narrative creates a new narrative for his next fight. And if that fight was against Wilder, if he does experience Father Time, he could potentially be in trouble. Many people look at the Rico fight and they have their own narrative bias. Some say that Rico was just really good and really excelled, and that premise may be true, while others saw the fight as a representation of a declining Usyk. Perhaps both realities can be true at the same time. And then the sixth idea is the legacy math, retiring undisputed and undefeated, walking away on top, undefeated as the undisputed champ. That puts Usyk in a conversation almost no heavyweight can enter. If Usyk was to lose in his farewell fight, does it damage his legacy? He is already one of the greats, win, lose or draw. Let's cast our minds back. The win against Tyson Fury was exceptional. Why was it exceptional? He was giving away height, reach, weight, and he was fighting an undefeated fighter with high ring IQ. On top of that, I believe it was after round 6, many people thought that Tyson Fury was going to get a stoppage because he was starting to dominate the fight. That was, of course, until round 9 that Usyk turned the fight around. And of course, the Dubois rematch was absolutely sensational. A Usyk that mostly has the identity of the boxer turned into a ruthless counterpuncher with vicious power. And then the seventh idea is the forecast. What happens the day he leaves? The departure. Doesn't it detonate the division? Vacated belts, the upgrade, epidemic accelerates. Let me explain. You have Mozatama, you have Dubois, you have AJ. Potentially, AJ could become a 3-time heavyweight champion. Potentially, Tyson Fury could become a 3-time heavyweight champion. This also could be the beginning of the Mozatama era. Or, alternatively, Dubois could have an extended reign at the top. There's a lot of excitement. There's a door that's opening. You could argue that there's multiple doors opening for other opponents, because when Usyk had his reign, it was Usyk versus the rest because he became a dominant force. Now you take Usyk out of that equation, that opens the door for another heavyweight to become that dominant factor. So this is my final statement. Think of this. Usyk's final fight may not be about proving he is still the best, but choosing the moment his greatness becomes untouchable. One more night could deliver spectacle, money, and cultural impact. If he wins and walks away, the heavyweight division changes. Belts, they scatter, contenders rise, and Usyk leaves behind not a decline, but a perfectly controlled ending to his remarkable story. So that's the end of the video. Now I'm trying to build a digital boxing community, and that means I'm interested in your thoughts, I'm interested in your perspectives, and I'm interested in your observations. Now, if you want to support the channel, press like, hype, and subscribe. And if you want to watch more content like this, then simply click here or click here. As always, thanks for your time. It is much appreciated.